Happy June and happy Pride Month. Alicia Jenish-Mc, executive chef at LinkedIn San Francisco, part of the Artisan Restaurant Collection. And to celebrate Pride Month, I'm going to feature a recipe from Jeremiah Tower. He's a Bay Area legend and an LGBTQ chef. He started his career in the 70s at Chez Panisse and went on to open Stars, which is one of the most iconic restaurants in San Francisco history. This is a fantastic book by him. And today I'm going to share the recipe for his short ribs, his beef short ribs. They're incredible, really indicative of his style, which is classic, very thorough and pristine. So let's get started. Okay, so here are our ingredients. We have some nice beef short ribs. These are English cut, which means that they have a long single bone instead of cross cut and having the 3 little bones. We're going to marinate that with some red wine, Pinot Noir, orange, garlic, and thyme. Jeremiah actually doesn't put wine in his marinade, but I really like to. And I'm going to throw some fresh bay leaves in. And these little cans of wine are fantastic for marinating. You should never marinate with wine you wouldn't drink, and that's delicious. And then later on, we'll cook our short ribs with aromatic veg, as Jeremiah likes to call them, leek, carrot, and celery. A little beef stock. No, I didn't make it, sorry. And we'll finish our braise with some parsley and fresh tarragon. Really elegant, clean herbs. So let's get started on the recipe. Okay, so I have my thyme stems, some smashed garlic cloves, give them a nice smash, some nice peels of the orange, fresh bay leaf, some very uneven sized beef short ribs. My butcher must be mad at me. Thanks, guy. And ideally you would do this in a non-reactive pan, but I don't have one that will fit the short ribs, so I'm using this metal pan. But ideally it would be glass. So we've got this. We'll pour over our wine. Never cook with wine. You would never drink. And I'm just going to use a whole can. And since they're not completely submerged, but that's a good amount of wine to use, just make sure that you flip them during the marinating process. And so let these marinate at least 4 hours, flip them a few times, or overnight, and then we'll get to braising. Okay, so now our short ribs have marinated for however long you have to marinate them. Mine have been going for about 5 hours. So I season them with salt and pepper. And what Jeremiah likes to do is sear them in the broiler to brown them before braising them. But since I'm not using my own stock, I actually want to sear mine in the pan so I can capture the fond, that brown. People often refer to it as a caramelization, but it's actually a Maillard reaction, the browning of proteins. So I'm going to tap my short ribs off so I'm not putting too much liquid, season them with kosher salt and black pepper, and then sear in the pan. Stand away. And you want to make sure that you're giving the short ribs enough space, and you're only going to do 2 at a time. So I'm going to brown them on all sides, and then we'll get to braising. You do not want to rush the browning process. I've just turned them. I poured my marinade into a separate bowl. I have my remaining short ribs getting ready to brown, but this is not a process you want to rush because this is where all the flavors develop. So just do a little dance. Do a brown and dance. Just give them time. Just give them time. They'll speak to you. Take a little peek. Not brown enough. Keep going. Keep dancing. Alright, so we have our really nice browned short ribs, and you'll notice I left my orange peel, the garlic, and the thyme in the pan. I didn't caramelize those. So now that the short ribs are nice and brown, I'm going to caramelize my aromatic veg, as Jeremiah likes to say. So I'm using leeks, celery, and carrots. I also have some parsley stems, but I'm going to add those later. I'm going to step aside because the oil's really hot. Throw those in, and I'm going to sweat those down, let them get some good color, and then I'll deglaze with the red wine that I used my marinade. And then once the wine has reduced by half, I'll pour it over the short ribs, and then we'll add the stock and put it in a 325-degree oven for a really slow braise. Okay, so my mirepoix aromatic veg is nice and browned. I've added my short ribs back in, and then I put all the aromatics back from the marinade, the thyme, the garlic, the orange zest, And I added in my fresh parsley stems just because I had them, and they really make for extra flavor. Now I'm gonna add the stock that I did not make. And I'm gonna make sure that it covers it like 3/4. Probably take all of it. There. So just before it completely submerges them. And I'm gonna let that come up to a boil, turn it off, put a cover on, and then put it in the oven. You can do it on the stovetop if you like, and if you are, just turn it to a low simmer and make sure you have a little steam coming out, and keep an eye that it doesn't reduce too much. I like to do it in the oven because it's overall heat. And like I said, so 325 to 2 to 3 hours. It really depends on your oven. My oven is old, slow, and cool. So I know mine will probably take like 3 hours. And if the liquid reduces too much and your short ribs aren't tender, just add in a little more stock, and if you don't have it, a little water. And you're just looking for the short ribs to be really tender when you squeeze them with the tongs, that they just give and they're almost falling off the bone. So have fun cooking. Okay, so my short ribs have been in the oven for a little over 3 hours. They're super tender. Like, knife goes in super easy. Oh, that bone is falling off. So what I'm going to do is let them sit in the braise at room temperature for an hour. Pull the short ribs off. Use a ladle and take the fat off the top of the braise. Then I'll strain the braise over the short ribs. And then I'm going to chill them and actually refrigerate them overnight. That's the Jeremiah Tower way. He likes to serve his short ribs the next day. The flavors really develop, you know, chili's always the best the next day, so is a braise. So we'll do that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day, and we have our short ribs warming, and I'm reducing the sauce by about half. So I'm getting the garnish ready. So I have some parsley and tarragon leaves, and I'm going to put some fresh orange zest, or lemon zest would be delicious. And I'm going to dress that with a little Banyuls vinegar. And Jeremiah likes to toss his with either hazelnut or walnut oil, but I don't have that. I have pistachio oil. So we'll make just a very light vinaigrette for our herb garnish for our short ribs. Oh, right, we have our beautiful braised short rib, the delicious reduced stock, all from Jeremiah Tower's amazing cookbook. And then we're gonna finish with our nice, nutty, vinegary, zesty herb salad. And there you go, Jeremiah Tower's red wine braised short rib. Have a great June and happy Pride.